What is up, friends? Welcome back to the Scuffed Cast, complete with our co-host Tryhouse here
What's up?
and our friends Rennie
Hey,
and V's returning.
What's happening?
Yay, Beats! He's back!
Yay! Yeah, V's
People
wasn't feeling
clap.
good last week, so he's returned, feeling great as ever. We're ready to talk and catch you guys up on everything RLCS related, as well as our predictions for the group stages happening soon. We'll recall the events of the day the Los Angeles tickets went live, and we'll get into why you should be using directional AIRROLL. And lastly, remind you guys to tune into the First Touch Black History Special later today at 5 p.m. ET on the main broadcast. So I'll remind you guys later too. But firstly, we'll get into RLCS, what happened after the second regional, what's happening now, right before the winter regional, the third one. Let's catch us up. What's happening? Things are happening.
Veeds, this is a you thing usually.
Oh man, where do we start? I mean, we've got like roster changes going on already, and we're only halfway through the split.
This is after every regional. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like the people they're savage. Mid regional, they're just like after one bad performance, they're like yeet gone.
Kansas City have just upper moved the entire city to OCE apparently.
Yeah, Kansas City is not located in the United States anymore. It's down under.
But that's quite a big. That's a good place to start, I think. Obviously,
Do you
since go on.
I was just curious as to why they would make that decision. Just because regionally it would be they have more success over there, or do they know people there? Like, do they have a branch there? Like, I guess
so
I would have to read
weird.
more into it.
I think it's probably like obviously like EU and NA are like crazy stacked at the moment. So when they sold their roster to Shopify or Rebellion, who have the naming rights from Shopify, which was Beast Mode, Rapid, Memory at the start of the season, and that was like a huge deal. Like they made loads of money off it. But since then, they've done like nothing. They really have just done nothing.
Yeah.
Dang.
So they've picked up. Can't remember who it is now off the top of my head, but they've picked up an OCE team that's I think one of the better teams over there. So it makes sense because they can see success. They can be trying to grow their brand more, potentially seeing more success because they're not going to win anything in NA with the rosters. That
Here's the
this year,
thing, though.
season.
Like, how much is the brand going to be able to grow in OC? Like, I don't want to diss OCE,
It's a
of
risk.
course.
No,
guys.
it's definitely
I would never want to
risk.
diss them, but
I think esports is at a point right now where taking those risks might be worth it in the long run. It seems weird, but when you look at the opportunities that are in NA compared to the opportunities that are in OCE, especially if they can get get their hands on a good team that's probably doing well, they might reserve their spot at LAN way easier than they would in NA. So just having making that sort of risk, I think it's a smart move. We'll have to see how it plays out, obviously. But I'm understanding
you're saying
it
it's
now.
a long-term investment.
Oh yeah, and I think everything in esports is right now. When you're getting into a team, when you're wanting to get into esports, you have to have that passion there. There has to be that want to put that investment in. There's so many orgs right now that are they're putting in a ton of money into their Rocket League scene, but how many spots are there to get into LAN? Not that many, and there's a ton of orgs. So
See, my concern is because Power, like that's a Australian org, right? Like that's a big org that is from Australia, and they decided to pick up a roster in North America, as I would assume, because it's a better investment than one in OCE. But
maybe that was a bad move. Maybe they should have stayed home. Like, but that's the thing. Like, I think a lot of the stuff that orgs over there do is outsource content sometimes from over here. I think Complexity was kind of the same way, right? where it was like a North American org, but they had an EU team or something like that?
Oh,
as
they
well?
did. Yeah. Complexity had an EU team, and I always thought that was weird because they were based in Dallas. And
And now they picked up a South American team, so it's kind of the same vein where they're just kind of like wherever the talent is, like I'm gonna try and pick it up. And I don't see that being a bad thing. It means more support in the esports scene for whatever region they decide to be in. But it is weird how they can do
still
that.
confusing.
It's a
Yeah.
little confusing.
So yeah, I guess Pioneers picking up an Australian roster might be the better long-term decision. It's specifically because a lot of I don't know, like their performances haven't been great, right? Where are they even at on the points leaderboard for North America? Because basically they have to forfeit all their points towards major, right? When they make the switch.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if they
Could be
had
like
any points. Let me see if I've got it pulled up.
It looks like it's quite a smart move as well, because the team that they've picked up for Kidden are currently in the winter split. They're second in OCE.
Oh,
So they're currently on track to make the major, which is actually massive. Ground Zero are fourth in OCE, and they were arguably the best team in OCE last split. So they've gone in, picked up a team that's currently second in the standings, and it could be just a short-term thing. If they somehow flop
I
in
see.
this next regional and don't make the major, then maybe there's something like
In their contract,
I mean,
maybe
they could just get dropped again or whatever. But
So basically, Pioneers, they go from being not even a top 16 team in North America in points wise standing, and now I just checked the leaderboard for Worlds, and now all of a sudden they are number 3 in OC in terms of point standing. I mean, and in 4th and 5th aren't too far behind, and they're not far behind number 1 or number 2. So they have all of a sudden they have a greater shot at making the big tournaments with this switch, and they
Would that be considered a loophole for orgs to be able to drop their entire team that has like points for RLCS and pick up a bubble team that has more points in a different region so that their org could get into LAN last?
I don't even think that's a loophole. That's just smart. I think it's just smart business.
Sounds like a loophole.
I mean, business-wise and
It's that
contractually,
easy.
I'm guessing that they would need to, if they drop their roster that is contracted to a certain amount of time, I would assume they've got to somewhat compensate them.
Right.
Because there probably isn't something for that team that they had signed. There can't be a stipulation of like coming top 8 in North America. So it's not a realistic thing. So I am assuming that they may have somewhat compensated them when they dropped them, and then they've just moved on. But
You'd hope so.
because of the deal that I heard when they sold their RLCS X roster, was quite a high money move, which is probably allowing them a little bit of leeway to then spend on a bit of compensation here, or like just going around picking up teams.
It's a pretty smart move by them, because Shopify is only 13th in North America in the rankings right now.
Well, that was the
Worlds.
thing. They saw Shopify got kind of like they really got the bad end of the stick, because they spent all this money buying out the KCP team, and then like a month later, Beast Mode quit, and he was the main draw of the big money move. So they were left with Rapid and Memory, and that was kind of it. Now they've got Path though, Rapid Memory and Path, and it's a good team. I do like the current Shopify team. But yeah, KCP, like they won, and from what I've heard, rumors is that deal was like it was worth quite a few, like hundreds of thousands. So it's
and for a small org like that, they're like, all right, because yeah, realistically, if they get a few $100,000 for that deal, it could fund, I mean, their entire year of operations or more.
Yeah.
Rather. So It seems like they sold high is what they did, and it was a smart call. Because I remember at the time being like, why did they get rid of their team? Their team is like they're right there, and like at the time they were like top 6 team or something. Like they were really good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were only just behind us last. No, I'm thinking of last split. Sorry, I was thinking we were 6th. They were. I think they only just missed out on. So for the NA Championships, it was the top 6 teams. But on the last day of RLCX, I think it was the major points or the final regional of spring last season, put Shopify down from 5th to 7th, and G2 and FaZe both went above them. So they could have easily made the championships as well. So them not even making the championships was like a big thing. But because they were expected to, because they were such a good team. So it's crazy, but it does seem like good business from KCP, to be honest. It really does.
Do you think that Liquid dropping Ronagi and Flakes was good business?
I mean, Flake. I don't know why they ever picked Flakes back up again. To be honest.
What? Don't be doing my boy Flakes like that. Don't be doing my. I mean, he was like semi in retirement for like pseudo retirement because he wasn't really. Sorry, I bumped my mic, but he wasn't really playing. I mean, he just wasn't streaming. I have no idea what his hours looked like, but.
Well, he completely quit for a while. And what I heard was that they only picked Flakes up for the first split of the season anyway.
That was calculated.
Until... Well, I think I read earlier that Oski and Atao, they both turned 15 one day apart in like a week or so. So they actually turn 15 after the quals.
Yeah, they had.
So I think Liquid are literally just chalking this like whole split, basically.
Damn.
Wait, why would they be chalking it?
Well, surely they can't. Are they allowed to run quals if they're not of age?
Yeah. I put this in the mega sheet. Also, Randy, did you get the message? Turn your headphone gain down. I can hear Veeds twice because of you.
Oh.
Sorry guys. I was
Calling him out in the middle of the cats.
Turn down a little bit.
If you looked at my face for the last 5 minutes, I was like pressing buttons and stuff. I was like, what is possibly causing this echo sound? And I looked down and Rainey's mic is picking it up because he's got those fancy open ear headphones.
Oh my goodness.
So sorry about that, listeners. I'll shame Randy later. No, I'm kidding. Randy, it's fine.
So they can qualify then?
Yes. If you guys didn't hear about this, because there's a lot of drama surrounding like the age controversy and when players are allowed to be a professional player, and Team Liquid, they posted this. I put so many dadgum links.
Wait, no, I did hear this. I did hear about this. Sorry, yeah, but I'll let you continue explaining.
Yeah, so the open letter that Liquid posted was, however, the dates for open and closed qualifiers for the EU Regional 3 fell just before, how do you say his name? ATOW?
I believe it's Atao.
Atao and Oski turned 15. Given the unusual circumstances of our players missing the qualifying event by just 4 to 5 days, but being able to make the regional event the qualifier leads into, we spoke with Psyonix last year and presented our case. After some consideration, Psyonix allowed us to field Atao and Oski for the open qualifiers, which, honestly, they'd be kind of dickheads if they didn't let them do that. 4 to 5 days, and it's like, it's a qualifier, and...
I guess they're not technically playing for money at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They're not.
That's a good
They're
point.
not actually competing for money.
Yep.
So so that is because wasn't there a problem with a player lying about their age before an event before?
That sounds familiar.
Wasn't that a time?
Yeah, but I guess if Liquid have like approached them like last year about this.
Yeah, like Liquid approached.
Somebody did though. Somebody did. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, so Liquid, they did the right thing by being like, they turned 15 in 4 to 5 days after the qualifier. And honestly, here's the thing, like the qualifier dates probably weren't out for a while anyways, so they were probably like, really splitting hairs there in terms of if they were old enough to compete. And I'm glad Psyonix let that through. my next question is, do you think this Liquid team is going to be, for lack of a better word, relevant? Because Liquid has been anything. I mean, as much as I like all the players that were on Liquid, they haven't had a solid performance, I think, since they've entered Rocket League, right?
This is probably their best bet
pretty...
as far as all the teams that they've just bundled up together. They've just, the last couple of squads that they've had, all great players, but like they think that, oh, if we just buy out these great players and put them together, they're going to be great together. But a lot of times it's not the case, and didn't end up working out for them. Liquid made some weird moves, and it's because they wanted to get in this scene, and I respect them for that.
Yeah.
But it's almost like
it's forced it.
Maybe they have. I'm assuming that they have lost money on Rocket League more than they have gained. So
It's almost
Absolutely.
their entry into Rocket League seems like they took the right approach, but it's almost like they did it without.
They did it with old information, like, or something.
Yeah, not doing their research, not actually knowing.
yeah, whoever their
enough
inside
about
Rocket League person is, like, this might be their best chance, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because they who was their first team? It was like Cuxer,
Cuxer,
Fruity,
Speed, and Fruity.
and Fruity, yeah.
who
It
were
was
like
the- it was
all
the-
good
the old
players, like
mouse-
a year and
mouse,
a half before that. Like they were like the top a year and a half ago, but like since the like formation of Liquid, like they had kind of they weren't bad players by any means, but they weren't.
Yeah, they had all had won major events before, so they were kind of riding on the fact that they could
Do that
bring that
again.
energy.
The issue with that was they were a relevant team at the time, but that was with the old format where if you did okay in RLCS, you were safe for like the next season. Like and bearing in mind, pre RLCSX, it was literally like a 9-game season, and then it was Worlds.
And that's right. You could be mediocre for an entire season and still get exposure. Now you constantly have to be in like the top 8
Gotta be the best of the best, yeah.
to make playoffs. And I never thought about that. Yeah, before it was just like you could just be good enough, and then all you had to do was beat out the RLRS team that is trying to promote, and you were still in. And
even if you lost and got relegated, you were still relevant because you were in RLRS.
well,
Like it was like,
RLRS
even though it wasn't as big of a thing, it was still like
It makes money from it.
you were still like a step above everybody else. Whereas now, like every bubble player has just as much opportunity to potentially make a regional,
which is good. I do like the new format, but yeah, it's I guess there's more wins for orgs with the format change than there were losses, but that is kind of a loss. It's like if your team doesn't do well every single showing, they're not going to make it, which I think is a pretty good transition point for our next bit of RLCS gossip, which is Ghost not even making the main event. And it sucks because I'm looking at the world rankings. Ghost is number 11 right now for qualifying for Worlds. I mean, and they are like one good performance away from being, I don't even know, like 8th or, like 8th. Because I think 8th is 650. They're at 530 right now in world points. And I just don't know how Ghost could even fall this far. They were looking so good the first split. And then this split has been, I mean, a straight disaster for them.
Yeah, it's not being great. I do feel one thing that I would say is I do feel like they've been getting very tough groups. In the first 2 splits, they've had first 2 regionals, they've had very tough groups. Because the seeding has seemed a little iffy at times in this split, but I mean, you still got, it doesn't matter who you're playing against. Like, if you go in 0-3 in groups, then that's on you. You know, like you've got to expect or to anticipate playing anybody in the top 16. So if you can't beat them in groups, then you're not going to beat them in playoffs. So it's
there's a good bit of
an odd
teams that didn't make it.
but...
Yeah.
Oh,
Vibrant / Accrue now didn't make it.
They didn't make it.
Oh, where's I have like 5 different.
PK didn't make it?
Wait, PK didn't?
They didn't make it to day 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
Power didn't make it.
It is tough out there, man. There's about 20. There's like 24 to 26, 28 sort of teams that could make any regional. Like it's actually really tough.
United didn't make it.
Yeah.
What's NXT? What did they used to be called? NXT Esports. What were they?
I don't remember.
Let me see.
They're a new
roster.
org. I know they're a very new org.
Be Nitrous Skills.
Off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. Maybe I thought they picked up a roster.
Oh, was it Devious?
DVS. Yeah, Chad says DVS. Thanks, Chad.
Yeah.
So, but for this event, the only like big orgs that didn't make it were United, Ghost. I don't know how big of an org Accrue is, but they picked up Vibrance, and they didn't make it. They lost their oh my gosh, Shopify almost didn't make it. I just saw this. Shopify had to go to their final game of the split, and it was against Accrue, and then they swept them. Ghost had to go to, or Rogue had to go to their final game of closed qualifier, and it was against Ghost. So Rogue and Ghost went to game 5 for them to make the main event, and then Torrent made it. All mid Charlotte Phoenix, a team literally called Randoms. They literally don't have a profile picture on Wikipedia.
So Randoms is 2-piece, Chronic, and Knight, I think.
That sounds about right.
They're all 16 and under.
Yeah, a bunch of kids, random kids.
Cracked out kiddos on the G Fuel, just going ham.
That's the dream right there.
They're really good.
Just to touch on what we said a minute ago about that's just reminded me. The question about Team Liquid was, do we think they're going to be good? That's just a team of young, cracked kids as well. So obviously, with experience and stuff, they could really like do some damage in here. But I just thought I'd touch on that because we didn't actually.
Little legends being formed.
Wrap that up.
I would be good for Liquid to step up a little bit. It's like I don't know. I'm surprised they hung on as long as they have with their performances. Like considering how crazy roster manias have been in the past, like especially a big name like Liquid. Like I think Cloud9 didn't perform well in Rocket League for I think all of half of a season, and they were out. And they just
literally season 8, and then they just dipped.
What the heck?
Yeah, they had one season where they weren't
made
dominant.
some solid deals with NRG. You already know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure they got.
I bet.
We'll probably make more money off of this deal than we will in the Rocket League scene the next 3 years. So, peace. I can imagine. It was a big.
Yeah,
and at that time, that was before anything was announced about RLCSX and the prize
high
pool.
Value.
Squishy's probably the highest profile name in RLCS. When it comes to like, if you're thinking like buyout clauses and stuff like that, his brand is like there's nobody that has a brand like it.
Yeah,
Arsenal is.
Yeah, Arsenal's coming
getting
close.
up there, but it's Squishy's still like way ahead.
He's ahead of the game.
How many subs is he at now? Squishy's at like.
He's like 1.3 or something. It's kind of mental.
If you
but
type
speaking
in
of randoms,
squishy muffins. Sorry, yeah, what?
Poor randoms though, because they've been they've been drawn into Group A with NRG, Shopify, and version 1.
Oh my gosh!
So that's a team.
We thought that we had the group of death in Regional 1. This is probably the worst group we've seen. Yeah, like. There's no hope.
Shopify version 1 oh my gosh, that is.
And Shopify and V1 are both fighting to try and make the major, so they'll be coming out to perform. So it's I don't know. They could come out and sweep everyone, but it's not likely. Is it?
That's a tough one. I like our group.
There's some good players though.
I'm happy.
Sure. So,
although we've got a group that if I was looking at this last split, I'd have been really scared. Complexity, Torrent, and Exit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and then I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. These teams aren't what they used to be." Or, I mean, I don't want to be a dick, but
don't be caster cursing it yet, John.
You're right. You're
time for that.
freaking right.
No pre-caster
Say
cursing.
anything.
Yeah. Well, it depends. If this was last split, our group would definitely be the most difficult.
The toughest.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
100%.
Well, I mean, version 1 has, I would say declined a little bit too, but last split they were pretty good. And
we're only getting better, baby.
This version 1 team is better than the version 1 team that they had last split, though, I'd say.
yeah.
Beast mode is better than Gimmick. But then Oxygen. Gimmick's gone to Oxygen, and now Oxygen with LJ.
And now it's like, yeah, I was about to
Look
say,
really good, so.
you better watch your mouth here because Gimmick moves over to Oxygen, and all of a sudden Oxygen is a relevant team in the scene. But yeah, version 1 is just finding their footing. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like they pop off this event, and I don't know if they beat NRG, but I would not be all that surprised. It would be an upset, but they've been looking really good. Group B seems to be. I mean, Envy has Envy been relevant recently in terms
not
of
with Drees, unfortunately. No, not really.
And yeah, so Group B looks like it's FaZe Clan's group to lose, and we
Rogue have some upset potential with Aqua. They look pretty solid with Aqua.
Yeah, see, Rogue looks like they were figuring things out the last couple events, right? Like they might come into something.
We'll see. Yeah.
They've definitely, with Aqua, this split compared to last split with Torrentero, it's night and day. Like, they weren't even in the question last split.
Yeah. They're looking a lot better. Just have some things to fix.
And Group C is G2's to lose, I would say. Because they've got G2, Charlotte, Phoenix, Oxygen, and the Sonics. And the Sonics apparently decimated in closed qualifiers. I think they were... We've gone on for about RLCS for pretty long here. We do need to get to some other topics, but this will be the last.
There's just a lot. There was a lot that happens like whenever a regional ends. It's like, oh my god, everyone's dropping teams and getting
there's a lot of news.
All I'd say really is, I think if we make it out of groups, we're pretty much at making the major. So
that'd be so
good
nice.
luck to you two casting that on Friday, because.
I'm not nervous.
That's going to be nervy as anything.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I mean, we're very close on points. Like G2 showing up last one. G2 they've already qualified for.
Yeah, I already got my tickets and everything. So if we don't make it, I'm just gonna be there in my SSG gear, looking like just a person emoji.
If
just
SSG, oh my god, don't even talk about
There's
that.
one thing that I have a night. I've been like, say we qualify for the major, right? But the first 3 days are behind closed doors. And then we're all going to LA thinking, this is going to be the sickest experience. We can finally see our team play.
No more manifesting. We're going to LA. We're going to win. We're going to be there. SSG is going to be there. We're going to win that major.
You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going with it. Look at Try's face.
I'm trying to manifest the opposite. We're winning the major.
Okay,
we're winning the major.
for the listeners to know.
We're winning the major, but you know.
For the listeners to know, the group stages of the winter major that are going to be going on in Los Angeles, the group stages are behind closed doors with no audience. I mean, there'll be the online audience, of course. But
I'll be there. I'll be like on the doors, like, let me in.
People, so teams will show up to the event and get eliminated before the playoffs. And
I hate that.
A lot of people are going to this event, and potentially, like, there are teams that are going to choke under the pressure of it being a LAN environment, and there is the potential for people to go to this event and then not be able to cheer for the team that they went to cheer for.
If I'm making the journey from the UK all the way to LA, and we go 0-3 in groups.
I mean, what a shit deal.
I'm turning around and getting the next plane home. Like, I'm sorry.
What a shit
deal. This is why they're not flying us out there.
Beach.
They don't know for sure that we'll get to watch them on stage.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm rioting or something.
How many teams have like a big enough audience that, like, okay, what if G2, okay, so how many North American teams can qualify for playoffs, right? It's like, it's top 8. Oh my God! This is gonna happen to somebody's fan group. Like some.
No, well, it's the same format. So there's 12 teams out of the 16 that will be
in
going
playoffs.
through. The issue is everybody's going to be cracked out of their mind. It's not like the regional that we've got in front of us, where we've got like all mid randoms, Charlotte Phoenix, Sonics, teams like that we're going to be playing against.
Oh my God!
But you could argue that teams like Charlotte Phoenix, Sonics, on a good day, would be a top team in OC or South America, places like that. So, but watches, we'll probably get like SRG. We could even get another NA team in our group, because there's 5 NA teams and only 4 groups.
And only the losing
works,
teams
honestly.
don't go to the playoffs. So all we have to do is not be the worst team in our group. But the point,
Shut up, Trey.
the
Stop
point
talking.
is, how many teams qualify for the winter event out of NA?
Bro, we're gonna get Sandrock, BDS, and NRG in our group or something somehow.
Veeds!
Guys,
don't
stop
even put that out there! Do not even put that out there! What are you doing?
Let's switch
Fine.
topics. Let's
Wait, no.
talk
I
about-
gotta have this answered.
Let's-
I've gotta have this answered. How many North American teams get to go to the main event? Or to major? There's
5.
enough.
So it's 5
Five.
EU, 5 NA, 2 OCE, 2 SAM, 1 MENA, and 1 APAC.
And so for right now, the teams that are closest to qualifying are NRG, FaZe, G2, Space Station, and then I believe either version 1
Or Oxygen, one of them two.
version 1 or Oxygen.
I think it's V1.
And I mean, NRG, FaZe, G2, and SSG all have a huge fan base. All those orgs.
I think what would happen, I think if we finish 4th, it would make sense for us to get the 5th seed from EU in our group.
We gotta stop propheticizing.
But I might be just
trying to
thinking of something
speculate.
random here.
I'm just
know the
coming to
word.
terms with
Might
the
not make
fact
sense to
that
anybody else.
I'm just coming to terms with the fact that some
Bro,
fandom some fandom is going to be decimated by this LAN. Like, people are gonna roll up to this LAN, fly
if your
out
team
there
loses,
to watch.
you just drink twice as much and you cry about it. Like,
Bro,
you're
we're
out
going to
with
be
your
the
friends.
randoms of Major. That's all I'm saying.
But stop
got-
it! Please! That's not funny!
I'm changing the topic. Executive decision.
Okay, we're
Let's talk about
segueing.
Friday.
Okay, so we're talking about Los Angeles right now, but
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are Los
So-
Angeles.
Oh,
regain, Randy. That was bad.
Okay, so guys, if you are attending the major in Los Angeles, everybody on this call should be there as well. So you'll
yeah.
get to see our bright and smiling faces there. But basically, the buying experience for LAN was a bit insane, a little bit hectic, and it blindsided a couple people that we know trying to get tickets from different regions. If you guys didn't know, they had leaked the date when the tickets went live, and it was correct. So they did go live on Friday at 10 a.m. PT, I think. And the site just like destroyed itself. Like, it, obviously that's what happens when there's a ton of traffic on a site. It'll start to kind of like clog up, and people were trying to click on tickets and they weren't getting in, and they were getting timed out. And then so we had formed a call of a bunch of people that wanted to buy tickets solely for the purpose to avoid people getting scalped. Basically, we wanted our friends of friends of friends to have that option to get tickets without getting scalped. So we were in a call getting tickets, and V's was there, and you can kind of tell them on your end what happened, Beads, because it was just insanity. We were all freaking out for a good 15 minutes. So,
First of all, I just want to shout out Lethamir, because if it wasn't for him, we'd have all just been staring at this blank screen and not been in the queue.
Yeah.
We were literally on the website for hours beforehand. And then about 15 minutes before the tickets went live, Lethamir was like, "Oh, I'm in a queue." And then we were like, "What?" So he was
Hello?
like, yeah, just refresh. So we all refreshed, got into the queue. The time comes around, it's 6 o'clock. I'm like, right, I'm the most nervous and anxious I've ever been in my life. It was the most stressful thing I've experienced in ages. And it was awful.
Dude, yeah, we literally all aged
But then I got
a
put into
single
the queue.
year.
I was
and that's-
like 1100th in the queue. So I'm thinking, right, everyone's buying 4 tickets. This puts me like 4,000 seats have already going to have been sold by the time I get my tickets. And then so comes around quick anyway, and everyone in the call's like, "Oh, I've been kicked out of the queue. I took too long and all this." So I'm thinking, right, I need to be quick here. I'm clicking on seats, and they're all disappearing in front of my eyes. Finally get some seats that aren't. I go to select the seats, and then suddenly it's like, you can't buy these tickets on your device. So I'm like, what? Apparently, the region locked the tickets. So myself and some friends and other people that wanted to go from Europe couldn't buy tickets for RLCS. It's like, why on earth would you region lock tickets for an event that
this is real.
hasn't happened in over 2 years? And then not only that, but we had to use. I'm wondering if we'd have used
a VPN.
A VPN would have been all right, because we had to go on.
Probably.
We could only access tickets on the US Ticketmaster website. So I'm guessing if we'd have actually just used a VPN, we'd have been good.
Right, but you would have had to known and set that up. But there was no indication.
But I just didn't assume that they would ever region lock.
Do you think that was a Ticketmaster thing or a?
Must have been a Ticketmaster.
No,
thing.
it was definitely Ticketmaster. But I just people
Ticketmaster
buy
sucks.
tickets to go to events all over the world, surely on that website.
Yeah, it was.
So
It was
I don't know,
insane.
it was weird.
It was insane. I was in the queue. I got to it was like 300th. I got to the first place, and then it kicked me out. I was like, oh, it's gonna be like that. And I had two computers open. I was being one of those people because I wanted to just get.
That's
as many
smart.
tickets as
I had to
could.
open Firefox.
You and Sleegy were like next
Both
level.
did
Sleagy
it.
had about 10
Both of
different
my
monitors
computers
up.
did the same thing. I was like,
Bro.
I'd used a different web browser. I purposely had turned off my pop-up blockers and everything because I knew that was going to be an issue. And then, I had already, SSG had already had our tickets secured, and I was just so I showed up like 5 minutes after they went live to try to get some tickets for my buddy because he told me he was in a meeting at work and couldn't. And so I went to go buy tickets, and I was like 1500th in queue or something. And I get through, and then I don't know if this was Ticketmaster. It was probably part Ticketmaster, but it just did not like Chrome. Every tickets that I selected was like, these seats aren't available. I would refresh the tab, try it again, and eventually I just opened up Firefox, and then I just selected the first 4 tickets I could find, kind of in the nosebleeds, because I was like, I thought I was gonna have the same problem. And no, immediately it checked out all 4 tickets, and I was like, well, damn it! I just bought 4 tickets in the nosebleeds when I could have bought them in the closer up sections because of some
I'm
stupid
stuck, to be
bug.
fair.
And the
We had to
nosebleeds.
get our tickets. Yeah, we're up in the 300s, but I'm just happy that I've got tickets because I was thinking when I saw all the tickets, the seats disappearing in front of my eyes. Because if anybody hasn't used Ticketmaster before, it shows
updates
each
live.
individual seat and it updates live, so you can see when seats are disappearing.
Did you tweet out what
And
tickets
everything
you
was
got?
just-
I'm looking. No.
So it's stressful, isn't it?
I got
Yeah.
them 303.
okay.
So
I actually bought them from Mitz. Mitz kind of was a bit. He was a bit of a lifesaver because he bought
Nice.
four seats and just didn't need them. He just bought them like Nito was saying, so that everybody that was there in that server
Could
could
get
get
some.
tickets.
Man's a
So
legend.
that server is still live, and if you're listening to the podcast, I want to extend that help to people that want to be at the event that could not get tickets for whatever reason. And you can contact me through my Twitter DMs or whatever, and I'll get back to you because I want to help people who have extra tickets and who have or want to get rid of them because they can't go, but they want to sell them at the same price that they got them for, so they're not scalping.
Yeah,
other
no
people
scalping.
No scalpers in that server.
or selling them like at a super reduced rate because they have to get rid of them, right? So yeah, just let me know because I really want anybody who is a true supporter of Rocket League to be present in a seat there. I want that stadium to be packed,
Yeah,
full
no-
to the brim,
no empty
because that
seats.
energy there.
You honestly, you
is
don't
unmatched.
want to miss if you can attend the LAN, or if you're a little bit, you're like umming and ahhing about it. If you can go, it's gonna be, even though there's gonna be like very strict security measures in place due to COVID restrictions and player safety and stuff like that. You're gonna want to be there because it's in the YouTube theater, which if you haven't seen the YouTube theater before, it looks kind of mad.
It's cool.
I think it only opened in September of last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
So it's gonna be
It's a
clean.
brand new theater,
And it's right next to SoFi Stadium too. I kind of want to go by SoFi.
And there's a Panda Express like across the street, so
there's everything. There's
all you need.
restaurants all over the
Everything
place.
you need.
If you want to do,
Nito's
I've
priorities. And there's a Panda Express, dude.
it was
No
it was
cap, Panda
Stax.
slaps,
Stax had
though.
tweeted out. I think it was Stax. He tweeted out like, "Yes, going to land," and he had like circled the Panda Express on the map.
It's Panda Express. I've heard a lot about it. I've
It's-
never been
I
to
mean,
America.
It's good.
It's good. I mean,
It's fast. It's good. Good.
It's
fast.
fast Chinese food, but it's better than like. I would say it's more authentic to Chinese food than Taco Bell is to Mexican food. Like, you know, it's pretty decent. It's really good. Every time I've had Panda Express, it's been good.
But land is gonna be a really great experience if you're in the California area. If you look at flights and hey, they're cheap, might as well make a trip because it is quite the experience.
First land back in 2 years. It's gonna
quite the
be mad.
There is there might be another event in NA, so just keep in mind that it won't be your last opportunity. It's just the fact that it's the first one. It'll be a really
I believe. Now, don't quote me on this, but I believe Worlds is. They've already said Worlds is. No, they've already said Worlds is North America.
I don't think that they announced where things were.
It's North America.
They've said that Worlds is going to be North America for sure.
Okay.
And I believe it's going to be somewhere on the east side of the country.
That's what they've been hinting.
From what
It
I've
needs to
heard.
be in Dallas.
I don't
It
want to
needs
say
to-
exactly where it is because obviously I don't want to know if it. I don't
And
wanna
we don't
give
really
false
know. I
hope.
think that they can change things last minute. You never know. You never know with
So
venues
if
and
you
shit.
are east side of the country, maybe keep that in mind for this time around. 'Cause
Bring
Worlds,
it to
I would assume
AT&T
Worlds,
Stadium. We'll pack that shit.
Worlds is going to have a big venue.
Right.
It has to have a bigger venue because they can't have World Championships and have all this issue that they've had with the first land back. Like they've got to learn from it and
Right.
and go from there.
Speaking of learning, Veeds, very good. We're gonna teach.
Yeah,
you
we're
listeners
so
something
behind
about
schedule.
a thing or
You're
two.
teaching Try this section's for Try House.
Yeah, this is for Try House and
Hey.
anybody else who feels like
No,
they
this section
struggle.
is for Ranny to educate people because he's so
Ranny,
freaking
if you
goated
guys
at the
don't
game.
know, Ranny is the big brain, a big Rocket League brain
The
of
Drift
the, of
King
the cast.
himself.
He has reached rank heights that none of us have before and done things in this game that we could only dream.
Yeah, Randy's kind
doing.
of giga brain.
So yeah, so he's here. We literally we keep him here to feed off of his brain energy that kind of radiates to the cast because if we don't have it, we're kind of really dumb the whole time. Like we're just dumb.
Yeah, he helps us get better at Rocket League just by being
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Just by being
Yeah.
in his presence.
That's- Here to
But
bring
yeah,
up the
we
skill
wanted.
level.
This is a Rocket League podcast, so we wanted to kind of bring us into the game a little bit and to kind of talk about directional AIRROLL versus free AIRROLL because I know that's something that a lot of us get asked about. I do, and
I
I'm
get
not
asked
even,
about it every
that good of a
stream.
Rocket League player.
Every
I'm
stream.
gonna help give you guys answers for what to say whenever people ask on y'all's stream.
Exactly. So why should we use it? Is it something that you have to use to get good? Like, what do you think, Randy?
Something I've noticed is that most pro players are switching over to using directional. They've started in the past with just one directional, for example, AIRROLL left or AIRROLL right. I don't think there's a better, there's not a better side. No matter what people what people say, it's just all preference. So use whatever you want. But I'm also seeing a lot of pro players add on both directional AIRROLLs, and they're starting to utilize both in the air. When I first started, I decided to just use both at once, to learn both sides at the same time, and I don't regret it, but it did take a long time. So what I usually tell people whenever they ask me if they should be using directional AIRROLL is if you're going to be playing Rocket League in the long run, like you think you're going to be playing for the next couple years, you want to try to get good at the game, start learning it now. Just put on a single directional, mess around with it. Just have it bound at least, and mess with it going off the walls. Trying some of the fancier flicks like breezies. You want to have that directional. Half flipping is really important to have on.
Okay.
But
all right.
Just have it for the basic stuff. If you want to go beyond that later down the road, then go for it.
Tryhouse is actually learning right now.
No,
Well, it's because
real,
I'm good so far. This is what I do. I just mess around with it. This sounds exactly like what I do.
I will say what Randy's just said there for half flipping. That was the only thing I used it for the longest time.
That's how I started with it.
And because I just didn't feel comfortable with going up for aerials with using it, I was always just manual, and I still have manual aerial as default square or
I think the next step beyond learning it for half flipping would be utilizing it coming off the wall, either cooks or twisting off the wall for the setup or a tornado spin for the setup.
So for me, when I bound both my directionals, because I did the same thing at one point, I was like, if I'm going to learn directional arrow, I'm just going to learn them both. Like, I'm not going to just learn one. And I put them on, I use a PS4 controller, I put that on square and circle respectively, left and right, because I'm actually pretty bad at directionals. Like, I would get kind of choked up on when I got off the wall. That was exactly what I was trying to learn it for. But as soon as I started binding those, it's like whatever wall I'm coming off, I know exactly which one to use because it's on that button. You know what I mean? So it's in the right spot. And it just kind of clicks in my brain now. Also, with Baka's mod, I always have like the flip, it changes the side of the shot every time I do it because I don't have a favorite side anymore. I used to like favor my right side a lot, and I was like, I got to get rid of this bad habit. So I just started doing both sides, and now I don't have a favorite side anymore. I can do it on both sides or fail on both sides, but equally the same on both sides.
My question is, do you still need free AIRROll, Ranny?
I have it bound.
Do you need it?
Well, yeah, it's like because there's some people who
players
only
that don't use any.
direct.
Yeah, no, one of Mike's one that doesn't use free AIRROll anymore. I think Justin barely uses free AIRROll. He might a little bit. Is there anyone else? I
this
think
is for if you have both bound. Though,
AIRROll
right?
uses both.
Yeah.
Like some of the most mechanical players in the world are like exclusively using directional AIRROll.
I'd say if you only use one, if anybody listening only uses one, then it still makes sense to have
A free
default
roll.
AIRROll to using that as well, because you still need to AIRROll the other way sometimes.
I've had people make the argument that you don't need to AIRROll the other side ever. Like you could just always adjust by AIRROLling another direction, and
It takes longer, but you technically
it's
could.
less efficient in certain situations.
I was also say like,
or
the
if like quick
efficiency is-
adjustments and stuff
restricted.
happen, like I don't know, like they said because it's but yes. I've always said that you need to have at least free roll bound, and at least for AIRROll shots, I've always found free roll makes it's a little bit more efficient because it's like you just hold it and then the stick rocks back and forth with you the exact way you need to go when you're doing an AIRROll
when
shot.
I make precise movements in the air, like when I'm trying to be fancy or whatever, I'll use my free AIRROll, but otherwise, I just use the directions. But I'm not a very fancy player either. I never really go off the wall or off the
You're a
ground.
one's main. Disgusting.
The issue with the issue that I found for a long time was when I was learning to aerial with directional AIRROll was I was tornado spinning way off. I don't know how to put it, but off angle. I don't know what the correct term would be. So
Over
it was
AIRROLling?
like, so I was being really inefficient in the air.
So I always,
now that I've got
I
used
train
to
slaloms
using it,
for that.
Now that I've got used to using it, when I free AIRROll in certain situations where I don't usually, I realize that I'm being really inefficient that way, because I'm just not used to it anymore. It's kind of weird. But
So what is the advantage specifically? Because this is the problem that a lot of the pros have problems articulating. They normally say it's just better because they're pros and they can't articulate it well. Rainey, please.
So
why is it
how I
so good?
articulate it?
How would you be more articulate
It is
than the pros?
faster. I'll say that it is faster because it's a 0 to 100 instead of like a slope going all the way to 100. It's just 0 or 100 with AIRROll.
Exactly. There's no
similar to,
delay
like,
between
keyboard
you
mouse.
moving the analog stick.
Yeah, So there's that, which isn't, that important, but
That's huge.
A
actually.
millisecond or two, I guess.
That's like lowering the dead zone specifically for AIRROLL to get it to
pretty
work
much
faster.
And you can move in ways that you can't with normal AIRROLL, so you'll have more control in the air. And that's why I say it's good for the long run, where it's not going to be super helpful for the next few months where you're learning it, because you're not going to have that, you're not be that good at it. Once you get really good at it, you're going to be able to move your car in ways that you couldn't before. And, it's almost like having a whole nother mechanic to your disposal. Because there's inverted tornado spins, quickster twisting, inverted quickster twisting, and then everything in between. And a lot of those movements you can't do with normal AIRROLL.
Bro, you're speaking I didn't even know they had names. I didn't even know the twists had names.
Yeah, quickster twist.
That's an OG.
I like
Yeah.
that though.
OG,
I think maybe I've heard it before.
It's important to have
but never
names for
stopped.
them, I think.
Yeah,
I
quickster
think so
twist,
too.
it's like
just to have that identification. I'm gonna
Arrow
have
left
to
to
look
right,
them
and you
up.
pull down. Inverted is pulling up. Inverted quickster
I remember when
twist.
people used to call it 7 o'clock. I don't know if you ever heard.
I don't remember that,
If it was
no.
just, it might have just been an EU thing. Was to it was like I can't remember the exact thing, but it was something about it being 7 o'clock because of like people felt more comfortable pulling down to the left.
Yeah. Directional AIRROLL is really good for setting up flip resets too. I don't know exactly how to articulate why.
Well, the 0 to 100 thing is pretty big, especially off the wall. Like if you're trying to position the shot as quickly as possible off of a wall, like the 0 to 100 AIRROLLing is just like you're instantly going there and there's no delay.
That's already helpful in the first place.
And for
Also, a
flip
lot of-
resets, because it's turning because you're turning on a single axis, you can have a flatter plane for the ball to hit, so you have more control over where it goes afterwards. Because if your car's kind of tilted one way or another, you could kind of lose the ball. But using directional AIRROLL, you just flip just perfectly over.
Yep.
Another thing is, I know you've said that you use square and circle for it. A lot of people use the bumper buttons, so L1, R1, LB, RB,
Astral.
compared
What is
to say square or circle. So you're having to press your jump button and then transition to AIRROLL. Whereas if you have it on a button where your fingers aren't being used for something else, so your bumper buttons, if you like play semi-claw, so you can use your middle finger to accelerate. Then
That's called crab.
It's also a faster transitioning.
It is.
Dude, there are people
is called
I
crab.
know.
Is it?
I know people on
Crab
pro
rip,
teams right now that still use default bindings for Rocket League,
Insane.
which blows my mind.
I've just
get it.
always called it semi-claw because you're not quite pulling your index finger down.
Yeah, this is crab.
as-
And
as
also,
far as you would be when you're playing claw.
crab is more ergonomic for your hand too. If you this is kind of a tangent, but
Like that.
yeah, if you're
crab hold OP.
see, so if you're like holding the controller normal, you see how my wrist is like cocked right here, and it's like that's pinching nerves and shit after you hold the controller for hours. But if you hold crab,
Interesting.
it actually loosens that all up.
I got hella flamed on TikToks for my crab hold.
Oh yeah,
Everyone-
I remember.
I posted
I
posted one TikTok holding
That
my
was some
controller
bullshit.
like a
I
Rocket
got
League player.
livid at this.
And I
people,
got
because people were like,
and
you
everyone
can
was
tell
like,
she doesn't really play
"Fake gamer
games.
girl."
Yeah, fake gamer girl.
Do you
Girl.
hold it
Play
like
games
that, Neo? Like,
I
do you
was
hold
like,
it
and my
with
4,000 hours
crab,
of
yeah.
mean nothing
for
at the
the
time.
listeners that aren't watching the VOD of this? Do you hold it with your controller with both index fingers and both middle fingers at the same time?
like this.
Oh no, that would be weird to me. That'd be so weird.
I only do it on the right
That's
side.
how
I need to do it on both because sometimes I
feel
need
like
a
my
power
grip
slide and
would be
drift at the same
affected.
time.
I feel like if I was doing that, I feel like I wouldn't have enough grip on the left side of my controller for my movement.
Get bigger hands, bro.
From
He's
Neato.
6'3"
Yeah,
or
pretty
some
good.
shit.
my hands are massive.
I know.
We're gonna
you're
see,
probably
guys.
like-
When you
you're
see
probably
Veeds at LAN, the dwarf next to him is gonna be me. So he's apparently a very large man, and I'm 5'9". So
Wait, you're only 5'9", Chad?
yeah, I'm 5. Yes,
Dude,
everybody listening,
Tryhouse.
I am 5'9". Do not come
If you
up to
see
me and be like, "You're
Tryhouse
so
in
shorter
his-
than I imagine."
You're actually gonna go up to
he
about
wears
where
his-
this is on my chest.
Yeah. He wears his cowboy boots to appear taller, but
Nito, you bitch.
Do you actually have cowboy boots, Chai?
Damn right.
Oh man,
Snakeskin,
Made
sir.
pure taller.
Wait, rock up to land with them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I
Please
would
wear them.
1000% wear my snakeskins to land first day.
Hell yeah.
Wait. Wear your snakeskin cowboy boots.
He's gonna
And
be
the
clopping
astronaut
around.
suit that SSG sent you.
Ew.
With them tucked in, with the legs tucked in.
Do we bring the
Space
suits?
cowboy.
We got to bring them. We got to bring the
We
suits to
can bring the
land.
suits and just absolutely roasting them.
Wait,
in
we just
LA.
rock up on the Saturday. Just all of us just rock up in spacesuits.
Oh, I might come from pros. Yeah, if we make the final, I'll space suit it up.
Stop it. Stop putting that out there. All right, do we have anything else to talk about directional air roll before we segue over?
No,
I think,
we can
think
get
Brady
into-
gave us good talking points. The 0 to 100 thing is something I never considered before. And
Also,
yeah, what's up?
I was just gonna say, if you are in need of tips and stuff, Randy is the guy to go to. I know
He's a
always got
coach.
shit going. He's a coach. I mean, I coach as well, but Randy's way bigger brain than me. I won't lie. So and you're always giving tips and stuff on your stream. So
Thank you.
go over to
try.
Randy's stream, and if you're in need of help, don't go to tries. It'll make you like de-rank.
I can help you get good at hoops. I'm
Yeah,
way better
that's
at
true.
coaching hoops than I am playing
that
hoops,
is true.
probably.
That-
But
you are a hoops.
the 0 to 100 thing is usually my biggest argument for why I advocate for a lower dead zone on controllers. Because a lot of people are like, it's preference. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, you can your car will physically move faster if you lower your dead zone setting. And it's like, that's my chief argument there. So that's a really easy thing for me to say when I talk about directional air roll. Because I personally am not investing much time into learning it because I don't anticipate being a pro player. So as long as I've got the car control with free roll that I kind of want, I'll just learn directional air roll kind of when I'm curious, and I'm not gonna like slave away on it. But
one thing about
I'll tell people.
I don't want to go off on like a tangent or anything with this, but what you've just mentioned about dead zone is people are always like, yeah, but I can't handle it. It's too fast. But you just lower your sensitivity then. Keep your dead zone low. Because I want to say like 0.05 to point
0.05 is the most used
is
by pros.
Yeah, that's a good sort of just lower it or raise it slightly to 0.1 if you struggle with it. But if you think if you're thinking your dead zone's too high, likely your sensitivity that's too high.
Yeah, sensitivity
Who's on the
is.
gang that doesn't know what any of those numbers mean, but you just like copy the pros and it works out?
Nito, my most watched video is a controller. No, that's my controller bindings. I did a dead zone settings video. It's the most research I've ever put into a video. This is how I met Ravina.
Oh, we can go into like
Yeah.
If the viewers or listeners would want, like, we've done like a directional air roll thing here. We could cover a whole section in a future podcast.
Yeah, you know what? We'll save dead zone settings and what
dead
those are next podcast, because I can go on a
if you're on
tangent about
PC,
this stuff.
there's like
So if you're listening
So
on
many different
Spotify,
settings.
also if you're listening on Spotify, I can do this thing where I add a question when I upload it, and there's like it'll pop up whenever you're listening on Spotify. So I'm gonna ask
cool.
the listeners what their rank is, because I'm actually curious as to what all of our general listener, like on Spotify, you guys in chat can let us know right now what your rank is. I want to know and gather like who we talking to, like what kind of Rocket League players are tuning in, and I think a lot of people on Twitch who watch Rocket League are generally in the I think plat and above range, because they're like actually seeking out Rocket League content. But yeah, I'd be interested to know. I'm curious.
Also,
yeah.
I've got to say this or I'm going to forget it. When we talk about dead zone settings and stick drift and all these other problems that we're going to get into, I found a video that fixed my stick drift just by it's like cleaning my controller basically, and it fixed a problem. I was going to have to buy a brand new controller. So I will talk about that when we do talk about dead zone settings, because
Yeah, we can touch on that next time.
that was huge. I mean, I almost bought a brand new Scuffed controller and it saved me $200. Anyways, next topic. Boom.
Yes. Okay. So firstly, I want to remind you guys again, I did at the beginning of the cast, but today when this cast is live on Space Station, so not if you're listening on Spotify, maybe you can check out a VOD. I would recommend it. But on the main broadcast, they are doing a Black History special and showcasing a lot of Black creators and pros and people in the rock community that deserve that spotlight. So please don't miss out. I wasn't told to say this. I just support so many of those people there, and I'm sure that production is going to be really special. And I want you guys to make sure you know to be there. So yeah, and then
and it's a tournament. Like it's a big there's rocket lag to watch.
It'll be good content, you know. You'll get to see some great people out there, so that deserve to be out there. Secondly, this second topic, because it's a short one, and I just kind of wanted to remind everybody that I am officially the 2-time Gridiron Games champion. Officially, I did get a third win, but it was unofficial. I care because our team came out and that event was insane. If you guys didn't tune into the Gridiron Games, our matchup, we won. It was so they gave us quarters and we played in football style. So like it didn't matter what the score was at the end of the game. You just had to have more points at the end of the 4 quarters. So I thought that was super neat because our third quarter game, we won by so many points. Like we ended up winning the whole thing. We lost the 4th quarter and we still won the Gridiron Games. So I thought that was a really forgiving format. Super fun. The group before
made it
us,
interesting till the end.
The group before us, talk about the most upsetting, like the biggest throw of the century, I like to call it, because they were up like 7 or 8 touchdowns. Like you have to run it in 7 points, 7 or 8 touchdowns by the 4th quarter. They came back, the losing team, they came back with those 7 touchdowns, tied it up, and then won it in overtime.
Dang.
And they won. It was incredible. You guys got to catch the Gridiron Games the next time if they do that format, because it is insane the comebacks that can happen. It was so exciting to watch, and you guys don't want to miss out. If they do that format again, it was insane. I really wish like they couldn't possibly do it as a limited time mode and have that format for every single match you play. But it was just so much fun because we had lost, and it was like, it's okay, we're still up by a touchdown even though we had lost the game. So
they could change. You've just like what you've just said there about they couldn't do it with that format as a mode, but they could like alter it so it's like
a tournament,
like 2-minute quarters.
Yeah,
so it's like an 8-minute game.
It was fun. Yeah,
it was,
or just set up like a LTM fun. That's a tournament style where it's like you can solo queue into it and get a team, or you can get a buddy and then you guys play 4 rounds in your position. That way, like you're not immediately eliminated from the tournament. It's like it goes by ranking of like who you play and what your points are. I feel like it makes it interesting until the end rather than just being disappointed right at the beginning. So it's kind of for all you potatoes.
Like talking from experience there.
V's, you sound like a dick. Shut up.
Well, shout out to oh my god, shout out to Alpha, Fire, and Corrupted G. They were my teammates, my squadron, and I just I relayed the information and they just outperformed themselves. They did a really good job. So, and Alpha had only played the game mode like once before. Fire had only played it like just that day.
It's Alpha though, man. Like he's
Alpha, and then Fire did incredible too. Like he was great. But I think Gabe was definitely MVP. He was just like a solid rock and just a great coach and I mean they called me the captain out there, so must have been doing something right, I guess.
I'm gonna be pissed if you get another title. If you get another title before I get mine.
Yeah, but it was for the Super Bowl, so you should get like
that's what I'm saying.
Like a special title, not just like a Gridiron Games.
And I am the 2-time. I am the 2-time. So and then K-Dop and Turbo, they get their freaking 4-time, 3-time. I want my 2-time.
You're essentially Violent Panda. If you get the 2 times Gridiron Games title, you're essentially.
I'm Violent Panda of Gridiron
This is
Games.
messed up. First of all, I didn't get a chance to compete in this one.
And secondly,
I didn't get my title for when I won the Gridiron Games. I swear, if Nito gets another one, there will be hell to pay.
We'll see.
I'll fight
We'll
for you.
see. Shiest, I'll keep harassing you.
I will slide into Shiest's DMs with. Can I talk to you for a moment?
Let's make Tryhouse mad again.
Oh my gosh, I'd be
All right.
livid.
Before we get on too much of a tangent, like I said, remember, guys, to tune into the Black History special later today. If you're listening on the Spotify, you can try and find the broadcast on the main broadcast, the twitch.tv/Rocket League. But guys, before we go, I'd like to remind you to follow us on Twitter at SSG Scuffcast. And please, if you missed any of this cast, you're like, oh, I didn't catch the first part of this, but it was pretty cool. You can find us on YouTube and you can find us on Spotify. Just look us up, same SSG Scuffcast. And we'll catch you guys next week. We're here every Wednesday, 12 p.m. EST. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Later, nerds. Sorry.